Last year, Tales of the American Empire produced Disinformation War, about the massive Ukraine war propaganda effort by the United States government. This includes discrediting and banning what they call malinformation. This is information that, while true, is harmful to the goals of the United States government. Those who follow independent media know that Ukraine lost its war with Russia a year ago and is slowly retreating. But most of the American public and even political leaders are unaware of this reality. This propaganda effort is explained by famous American journalist Chris Hedges.
The militarists who have waged permanent war costing trillions of dollars over the past 2 decades have invested heavily in controlling the public narrative. The enemy, whether Saddam Hussein or Vladimir Putin, is always the epitome of evil, the new Hitler. Those we support are always heroic defenders of liberty and democracy. Anyone who questions the righteousness of the cause is accused of being an agent of a foreign power and a traitor. The mass media cravenly disseminates these binary absurdities in 24-hour news cycles. Its news celebrities and experts, universally drawn from the intelligence community and the military, rarely deviate from the approved script. Day and night, the drums of war never stop beating. Its goal? To keep billions of dollars flowing into the hands of the war industry and prevent the public from asking inconvenient questions.
This is a stunning photo of corrupt American congressmen cheering and waving Ukrainian flags in a congressional session after voting to shovel billions of more dollars into the Ukraine war rat hole. While 8.2 million Americans lost their government-funded Medicaid health insurance last year as a cost-saving measure. The propaganda that justifies this war is exposed as Russian troops advance daily. American leaders ignore reality, as these 2 news clips from 2021 about the problems in Afghanistan show, followed by 2 clips from September 2024. These will be explained by famous professors Norman Finkelstein, John Mearsheimer, and Jeffrey Sachs.
Is the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world, and an air force, against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable. Right now, we have to strengthen Ukraine's position on the battlefield. And that's why today I'm proud to announce a new $2.4 billion package of security assistance. I've also directed the Pentagon to allocate all the remaining security assistance funding that has been appropriated for Ukraine, period, by the end of my term, which is January 20. And this will strengthen Ukraine's position in future negotiations. Second, we look ahead to help Ukraine succeed in the long term. As you know better than anyone, as we said at the Washington summit, we have to support Ukraine in its path to membership to both the EU and to NATO, and continue to make reforms to counter corruption and strengthen democracy, which you're working mightily on right now. With both these actions, we make it clear we stand with Ukraine now and in the future. We've got a lot to discuss, so let me close with this. These 2 elements are critical to how this war ends. Let me be clear. Russia will not prevail in war. Russia will not prevail. Ukraine will prevail, and we'll continue to stand by you every step of the way.
I've been proud to stand with Ukraine. I will continue to stand with Ukraine, and I will work to ensure Ukraine prevails in this war.
Biden was brain dead for the last 4 years. So most of the policy was being made by Jake Sullivan, by Secretary of State Blinken, yeah, Biden was an element, but he didn't have the mental capacity really to make lucid decisions. Kamala Harris is a moron. She's stupid. She has no competence for the job. It's a very funny thing that happened because Biden only selected her. He said the reason I selected her is she's a black woman. They wanted to nail down the black woman vote.
And the one thing I learned in all those studies is that you have to have a theory of victory. You have to have a story that tells how you're going to win. And you have to be able to figure out what are the things that really matter on the battlefield that determine whether side A wins or side B wins. And if you look at the analysis that's done in the West, and this includes by these generals who are on television, as well as all of these civilian military experts who are trotted out to tell us what is likely to happen as a result of X, Y, and Z on these battlefields. Most of them do not have a good understanding of how wars are actually fought, and most of them do not have a theory of victory for winning wars of one sort or another. And I think this lack of depth, this inability to sort of analyze wars in a really sort of sophisticated or semi-sophisticated way is really quite stunning. And the end result is you have these generals who are trotted out as, great seers of the future who end up with egg all over their face. I mean, David Petraeus talking about the counteroffensive and where it's going to lead. Even when the counteroffensive was clearly doomed, he was predicting victory. And you just sort of say to yourself, what's this guy thinking? Where are we here?
So the U.S. plan was, we'll arm Ukraine enough that it will become a fait accompli, that Ukraine will become a NATO country and a European Union country, and Russia won't be able to do anything about it. So I think they really believed, what can Russia do? It's a backwater, it's weak. We don't believe Putin's threats. If he actually does something, we'll sanction the economy to death. So they were playing a game of chicken, and Putin called their bluff and invaded in February after the U.S. refused to negotiate anything. And interestingly, almost days after, Zelensky said, we should negotiate. And the Russians and the Ukrainians actually sat down and negotiated in Ankara and almost reached an agreement. And then the United States intervened, said, you don't have to reach an agreement. We're going to crush Russia. And you're going to do it for us, Ukraine. You're going to be heroes. You're going to defeat Russia with our wonderful weapons and our economic sanctions. And of course, this was an illusion, typical American arrogance, because Putin mobilized in the middle of 2022. And also, Russia was a far more capable military and far more capable arms manufacturer than the United States allowed, and technologically much more sophisticated than they imagined, with very smart guided missiles and a lot of advanced digital technologies.
The Anglo-American empire has lost its proxy war, and Russia is likely to capture all of Ukraine within a year. Will the empire wisely cut and run, or send NATO troops into Ukraine and try for a stalemate without sparking World War III?